Hey y'all, this is Nina Stevens, and I'm in the South where sushi is still called bait. So, what I'm doing today is I'm canning pork. Alright, so I'm going to can this pork butt roast. I actually have two. But I have all my jars out here. If I have enough with the other one, I'm going to can enough to, I'm going to do both of them. So what I want to do first is get this cut up to go in the jars. So, put it over here. And I'm not going to trim the fat off of it unless it has, like, you know, a lot in one spot or whatever. I've watched several people doing this. Everybody does it. This is just how I do mine. Alright, so I'm only going to do the pint jars for me because I don't have kids at home and I don't have, you know, it's just me and Callie and she eats what's left on my plate anyway. So, I'm not going to do quarts because I think quarts would be too much at one time. And the reason why I like canning the meat, this is a boneless pork roast. I like boneless. I would have gotten one with a bone if they would have had it, but they didn't have it, so I just got what they had. But the reason I like canning the meat, oh, Callie's like, what you got, Mama? She said, I'll be needing a bite. No, ma'am. You better go on, Callie. I'm not playing. When I get off work, I usually got 100,000 things to do because I'm responsible for the inside, the outside, the underside, and the top side. So I'm raw packing this meat, not putting any seasoning in there, and the reason for that is you can season it different ways, but if you can it like barbecue sauce, there's a sugar-free barbecue sauce that I use. If you add the barbecue sauce to it when you can it, barbecue sauce normally contains sugar, and when you're canning, the barbecue sauce will have a tendency to crystallize and caramelize, and it may affect your seal. So I'm not going to put any seasoning on my meat. I can add the seasoning that I want when I open it. I'm going to really pack it down in there good, but I'm going to leave 1 inch of headspace. And this little debubbler works great for reaching down in there. So that's what it's going to look like in the jar. Alright, so I got all the roast in the jars. This is a very key step. This is a paper towel with vinegar. And I clean the top of these jars to make sure that there's nothing on the top that will cause my seal not to work. And I do this even when I can, like beans. Truly, I smell pretty now. Alright, so I'm not going to heat the lids because they're going into the canner. And the canner is going to take care of any, you know, I washed my jars with soap and water, but I didn't sterilize them. I didn't boil them. I just don't think it's necessary. When you're pressure canning for 75 minutes, I just don't think it's necessary to sterilize your jar. I think it's double work. But this is just how I do. You do whatever you feel good with. If you want to sterilize the jars and all that, you go right ahead. Do what makes you feel good. So I'm putting the lids on here just finger tight, just till it grips. I'm not bearing down on it. If you put your jar on there too tight, it's going to cause what's called siphoning. And that's where you lose your liquid. So they're going to go in the canner just like this in cold water. And then I'll bring the canner up to let it steam. And it's called venting. I'm going to bring it up, let it steam for 10 minutes. So I'll bring it back. Everybody needs to do their research as far as how much weight or how many pounds of pressure that you need for your altitude where you are, because it's different. We don't have a lot of elevation here, so 11 pounds of pressure on the gauge is what I'm going to can these at. If you notice, I'm canning on a glass top stove. Now, everybody has their own opinion about canning on a glass top stove. I took a chance the first time. You know, some people can on a glass top stove, some don't. Some say, oh no, that's against the rules. Well, I ain't about all the rules, okay? It's what I have, so it's what I'm going to use, okay? Not to say that at some point in the future my glass top might break, okay? That's a chance I take. You will have to do your own soul searching about whether you want to can on a glass top stove. I've done it with no problems whatsoever, so until I have a problem, I want to keep doing it. I'm not telling you you can. I'm not telling you it's against the rules. You know, I'm not saying that your manufacturer will say, do not can on a glass top stove. Okay? I'm just saying I do. And it hasn't caused me a problem. And if in the future my glass top breaks, okay, you know, it's my own fault. But I've done it with no problems thus far, so I'm going to continue. That'll be your decision whether you want to take the risk of canning on a glass top stove. So I've hit 11 pounds of pressure. So 75 minutes from now, I'll bring you back. The timer is going off, so my 75 minutes is up. So I've moved it off of the burner that it was on. Slid it over here off the heat. And I'm going to let it come down off of pressure naturally. I'm not going to take the pressure regulator off. I'm not going to open the lid. I'm not going to do any of that. I'm going to leave it alone and let it come down to pressure however long it takes, because I don't want my jars to break. So I'm going to open this canner and get my stuff out. So there they are, 16 pints of yummy goodness. They're still cooking. So I'm going to leave them there. I'm not going to touch them until tomorrow morning. And hopefully check the seals and everything will be good. Hey y'all, Callie and I appreciate you watching our video. Yes we do. We've got some more you may want to see. And if you like what you see, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Thanks, and until next time, we'll see you later.